Hey there, Transformers, and happy Thursday. This is a special episode, especially for all of you West Coasters, because I'm finally going live over your lunchtime. So if you're on Easter Central Time, this is a special afternoon treat. Surely exactly what you need to get you out of that energy slump that you might be experiencing post lunch. Today's conversation is going to be a great one. I'm really excited about the guest who's joining me today. I have with me Pavi Theva. She is a technical product manager with Amazon. But if that wasn't impressive enough, she also decided she wanted to become an entrepreneur. And she started Gromance Life, which is a business about mindfulness. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about what is mindfulness and how you can begin to incorporate mindfulness, because by the end of this conversation, you're going to realize how important it is for you in the way that you work to be flexing those mindfulness muscles. So Pavi, tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you into this place where you feel so passionate about mindfulness.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you very much for joining, and thank you so much, Carolyn, for having me here. Very excited to meet you and be on your show. I'm Pavi Theva. I am originally from India, and I come from a family of engineers. So naturally, growing up, I was very inclined towards becoming an engineer. And then when I did become one, I didn't really enjoy the type of work. So I was like, I'm more like a people oriented person. I want to, solve problems, bring the right people together in the right room, and create products and use my creativity. So I then moved towards product management after a few years of working in tech. And then I kind of again realized that this product management lifestyle, although I enjoyed a lot of aspects of my job, I was constantly hustling and going one project after the other, and it didn't really fulfill me at a deeper level because I felt out of touch with my creativity. Because I really enjoy creating products and solving the problems of other people and bringing that product to life. So as a result, I hit burnout since I was kind of overworking and trying to push myself too hard. I hit burnout, and then that came with a set of health problems. I was diagnosed with thyroid and like gut health issues and all these things going on. And I thought finally, like after a few years of struggling with it, I realized it's really important for me to take some action and started a physical fitness journey, and was trying to incorporate certain diets and workout and all of that. And then soon I wanted to take a more holistic and sustainable approach towards my health, and I stumbled upon ayurveda and also about yoga and all these different things that back in India we were taught about it, but I didn't pay that much attention back then. But this was kind of like my wake up call. So I learned as much as I could about meditation, yoga, and about ayurveda and all these different ancient yogic practices, and tried to incorporate that in my life. And then I was able to really transform my life from being burnt out, not feeling disconnected from myself, to really understanding more about myself, and also how and building that holistic life, and also realizing like what I'm really good at and what can I offer to the world, and what can I contribute and how can I be of service to others. So that really came into light through my mindfulness journey. And that's how I actually went about creating Gromance, which means like falling in love with your ever evolving self or your growth journey, basically. Yeah.
I love that. I think that's such a beautiful sentiment of falling in love with your journey, right? And being present for the journey,
Mhm.
not getting stuck on the future state only, really, but being able to acknowledge, like, man, even from yesterday, I can see a difference in the way that I'm thinking or behaving, and it really is an every moment journey.
Right, exactly. Yep. We are like very caught up with, what is up for the future. And when we set goals, or we think mostly about it as like a future goal and miss that process, which is basically like, enjoying your growth journey as well. So that was really like the idea of a romance and this whole concept of basically enjoying the journey as well and falling in love with your growth in every step of the way.
I had a conversation with a client of mine a few weeks ago, and we were talking about the fact that he always moves on to the next goal without acknowledging the significance of what he's already accomplished. And in his short 35 years of life, in which you haven't been working for 35 years, you've been working for maybe 15 at most, but he's accomplished a lot in that time frame. And yet every time he would hit this major milestone, this big goal, he would just turn his attention to the next big thing, right? And I think that's such an important reminder for us of celebrating the things that we worked hard on, right?
Right.
Celebrating those milestones and acknowledging ourselves and every small step that we've taken to get to where we are. That's a big part of enjoying the journey.
Yep, exactly. I completely agree. And there's also this research about like hedonic adaptation, which really means exactly what you said, that, we are just happy for a few days or even for a few hours after reaching a goal. And then we become just as happy as we were before achieving that goal. So it really doesn't last for a long time, taking all that pressure and hustling to just reach a goal. And then soon we become prepared for the next goal. And
Yeah.
yeah, it goes on.
So let's define mindfulness,
Mhm.
because I know this was true for me. Before I started on my own burnout recovery journey, it just sounded like a word
Right.
that people use to describe long baths or, some aromatherapy perhaps. So what truly is mindfulness?
Yep. I mean, by its very definition, it is living in the present, like what we were talking about right now, like really being in the present and embracing the now. But for me, at a deeper level, it really means being equanimous or mindful, even in the most difficult circumstance in your life, even when you're going through a very like hardship or suffering. How can you let go of the control of the future and the outcome that you had imagined, or the life that you thought you're supposed to live, like leaving that image and really embracing the now and living in the present and doing the best you can, even if it's like a difficult circumstance. That's what like it really means to me at a deeper level. What do
Why do you
you
why do you think this is so important for us as we consider the ways that we work?
So I think it has a huge impact in all the different areas of our life, all the different areas of our life. Like for example, if you take at work, right? Like we want to show up as our best self and share the gifts and the talents that we have. So when we are really in the present, we get to like really understand more about our authentic selves and show up as that authentic person and really showcase our skills in the best way possible. And also the most biggest problem is that right now people don't think that we are good enough. I'm good enough, and that's something I also struggle with. Like even though I did a great job at work, I still went to bed feeling I'm not good enough. I could have done something better because I didn't reach my goals at the time that I set myself for.
Mm.
So that feeling really makes you feel less worthy. And when you show up at work, you cannot really show up confidently and ask for, a raise or a bonus or anything like that because you tend to feel you're not worthy enough. So that's why I think this plays a really important role of embracing the now and really understanding yourself better.
Yeah. From a like biological standpoint as well, when
Mhm.
we're not present, when we're anxious or stressed out about a future event that hasn't even happened yet, right? We haven't even yet proven that stress to be worthwhile. But when we're stressed out, our brain turns off the critical thinking
Mhm.
portion. It prioritizes blood flow to a completely different area of your brain. So you're not able to do creative work, critical thinking work while you're in that state of stress. And that's where you're the most productive, right? That's where you are the biggest contributor to your team, to your organization, when you're coming up with new innovative ideas. Which you and I both come from that engineering background, and you said it earlier, and I resonate with it as well. I pursued engineering because I was creative and I loved being creative. But when we're constantly stressed out, we're not able to access that creativity.
Yep. The other thing that I commonly talk about is also like managing your energy more than your time, because we try to, like, like you said, when we, even though we are stressed, even though our body is telling us that we cannot do it, we want to get through our list of things that we want to get done, even though, like, we are stressed or anxious. So that is really, trying to manage your time in a very inefficient way. But rather, if you're managing your energy, you would understand, like, what are some activities that drains my energy, what are some activities that energizes me, and try to, like, keep your schedule in a way that you feel energized and productive, and you're able to tap into your creativity.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ways to really personalize that, right?
Mhm.
Through getting curious, really, about what does my body need in terms of food that nourishes it? What does my body need in terms of movement? How do my hormones come into play with my energy needs? And really treating the energy equation as the guiding light for our day to day can be such a difference maker in how we experience work and non-work life.
Exactly. Yep. Love it.
This really feels like our first conversation that we had, where we were just geeking out about our shared beliefs in this regard, because we both came from these
Right.
technical backgrounds, from these really aggressive achievement-based careers, and both experienced burnout pretty quickly.
Yep. And it's very hard to actually meet people like that. And I'm glad that, we met and we had a very similar journey and experience.
Yeah. So if someone's watching today, whether they're watching live or on replay, which, by the way, folks, if you are watching on replay and you still have questions for us, drop them as a comment on the video. I'll make sure that we get an answer back to you. So don't worry if you're not watching live. If you are watching live, drop those comments as well. We'd be more than happy to answer your questions. But for those who are tuning in with us, Pavi, what are 3 to 5 habits that a mindfulness newbie could begin to incorporate to feel like they are building that capacity for mindfulness?
Right. Yeah. So one thing that really helped me in my very early stages of my journey was having a morning routine. I think this is a very common thing that people might have heard, but it's super important, I feel, because I used to just wake up and go into my meeting, have breakfast on the go. And that kind of a lifestyle really drained my energy by midday. And I would come back home really exhausted, having no energy to work on my passion projects. But having a very calming, energizing morning routine really helped me to keep my energy throughout the day and also start my day on a good mood, feeling grateful for all the things that I've done and all the things that I've been blessed with. So that really helped me set the tone for the day and the right intentions. So if you're early in the journey, the first step I would tell is to create a morning routine that works for you. And most days I wake up early and I have like 1 hour with myself, to do all the things that I want to do in the morning. Like basically, I start with my yoga practice. I drink warm water, then I like do my meditation, and then I do some spiritual reading and all of that. But some other days, like I wake up little late and I have less time, but I still make sure that I at least give 15 to 20 minutes for my morning practice. So I have those mechanisms in place where if I have more time, I can do all of this. If I have less time, I can do only this. So just having that kind of a mechanism to start your morning, I think is, yeah, really important.
So
And Mhm.
I do want to say, as we're on this subject, I hear parents say frequently, that with the introduction of kids to their lives, they don't have time in the morning, or they're too tired in the morning for a morning routine. But kids thrive on routine, right? As a new parent, like, if you have had kids, you know that sleep schedules, meal schedules, like, parents in this age are all about having their kids on routine. So we see the benefit and the value for our own children to have routines, and yet we don't claim that for ourselves. Right. Really, you can do a pretty decent job of predicting your kids' routines and then developing your own schedule to still allow for a mindful morning. For that morning, wake up, incorporate at least 3 things into your morning that bring you calm, that bring you peace, that bring you joy. Can be such a difference maker.
Right.
So
right. Yeah.
That's my interjection. Continue on with your habits.
No, that's a very beautiful thing, because I also met and worked with like few parents who had a difficult time waking up in the morning and having this routine for themselves. And some people, I told them, like, maybe try in a time that works for you, maybe in the evenings when your kids go to some classes, or you've put them to sleep, or during the weekends if you have some extra time for yourself. So there are some coping mechanisms that parents can put in place to really find time for themselves, because that is really important, as you mentioned. Yeah, the other habit that really helped me transform is journaling. Like, I wasn't a journal person at all, like growing up, but when I started my journey, I was facing with overthinking, over analyzing problems. So I thought, okay, I'll just start like doing this brain dump kind of thing, and it's also called as morning pages, which is a unique practice where there's no structure to it, but you just put down all the things in your head down in the journal. And it was very therapeutic for sure, because I was able to go back to it and look at the patterns of my thinking and get to know more about my emotional problems and everything. And I was able to then think what actions I can take in a more logical and practical way. So I think journaling is also a great start. Like, few things that I like to do is this brain dump or morning pages, and then gratitude journaling. So every night I put down few things that I was grateful for that day, few things that brought me joy, like even the small things like watching the birds in your patio or backyard, like simple things like that. I make a note of it. And then some of the big wins or small wins that I had that day. Like you were saying earlier, right? We forget our wins throughout the day. Throughout the course of time, we forget our wins and we go on to the next one. So I think it's really important to document that, because end of the year, when I go back and look at it, it makes me feel like, oh my God, I've actually done a lot, but in my mind, I think I've not done enough. So I think it is a very good practice as well. Do you have any inputs on that, Carolyn?
So I just want to recap for folks who are watching. I've captured these as comments on our YouTube stream as well. Number 1 habit for building your mindfulness is to develop a morning routine. I love that. There's so much value in that. The way you start your day is a great indicator of your mood for the balance of the day. Number 2 is to journal your thoughts. That can give you a better understanding of your patterns of thinking. Also, journal your gratitudes and document your wins. All of those things can help initiate that mindfulness practice.
Yep. That's great. The other thing I just wanted to quickly talk about was also around eating and taking care of your body, because that is something actually I started my journey with with healing my body, and then only came to my mind and other aspects of this journey. So one thing that I started doing was eating without any distractions, but at least one meal, because I couldn't do all the 3 meals when I started out. It was very difficult, because that was my time to chill and catch up on like some TV shows or talk with my partner and stuff. But breakfast, I make sure that I have only with myself without any distractions. And I kind of made it as a ritual. Like, even when preparing my breakfast, I prepare with so much love and intention and attention. I look up different recipes that I can do, and also I'm very mindful of the ingredients that I use. How much oil do I put? How much spices do I put? And all that, and kind of made it a very mindful ritual and started eating my breakfast without any distractions, and that
Mm.
was like truly transformational. I actually really enjoyed, that whole process of like smelling the food, of really engaging with the food itself. And
Yeah.
then eventually, I was able to become very careful about all the foods that I buy from the stores, the grocery, like how I cook it. I realized I put so much chili powder, coming from India, like which really, made my body heated up. So that is also a very important habit, I think, to begin with, because you get to know more about your body, and it's amazing how interconnected your body and your mind is.
Yeah. That's a great habit to finish with. Pavi, thank you so much for joining me today. I sincerely appreciate you being here, being with my audience, sharing your expertise on mindfulness. If someone is watching today or on replay and wants to learn more about how to build their mindfulness practice with you as their guide, how can they do so?
Sure. So I'm very active on Instagram. You can follow me there and reach out if you have any questions on Growmance with Pavi. And my site is where I have my offerings and stuff is growmanslife.com. And recently, I actually launched a workbook that is called Discover Your Life's Purpose. So it has a set of exercises for self discovery and mindfulness, which is very inspired by ancient yogic wisdom of this ancient yogic wisdom. So yeah, if you guys, if you all like came through the workbook from Caroline's show, then as a gift, I would really like to offer a special discount and a pricing. So you can DM me on Instagram and share that you watched this on Caroline's show, and then I will share a special discount with you all. Thank
Wow,
you so much, Caroline, for having me here.
yeah, thank you so much. But run, do not walk over to her website and get that book, because those sort of practices can be so helpful for us in really navigating what it is that we need to guide us. So I highly encourage you at home to go and check that out. Next week, we will be back at our normal time at noon Central Standard Time for our weekly Lunch and Learns. Make sure you join us there. If you haven't already, click like, follow, or subscribe to make sure that you stay up to date on all of our weekly conversations so that you don't miss a beat, because we come here every week to talk about how you can engineer your energy. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next week.
Bye.